What One Thing, a Smart Meetings podcast that provides you with a shortcut to the top of the events world by asking successful people what made the difference in their careers and lives. I'm Vice President of Smart Meetings and Content Director JT Long, and today we're getting an advanced look at what is in store for IMEX America 2024 from IMEX CEO Carina Bauer. Welcome, Carina.
Hello, thanks for having me, JT.
Always a joy. Hey, tell us what lessons were learned from Frankfurt that will inform what is being called IA24.
Yeah, so I would say we're very lucky because we have two shows run roughly 6 months apart. So we're constantly actually learning from one show and then applying the learnings to the next show and iterating on them. So there are lots of things that we did for the first time, maybe in IMEX America. We upped it a little bit for Frankfurt. We learned from that, and then we come back to IMEX America with an enhanced program. So for example, our First Timers program is a really good example of that, where we enhanced our First Timers program for IMEX America last year. We built on that success in Frankfurt. That was very successful with the European audience. And then we're bringing some of those successes back to IMEX America to really build on that First Timers and Newcomers program for the show. One of the things that we did as well new in Frankfurt this year that we'll build upon at IMEX America is something in our education program where we had some small, frank discussions on some quite hard-hitting topics. We called them tough talks. So we had one around men's mental health, one around the menopause, for example. And that was a real experiment, and that was very well received. And so we'll be building upon that at IMEX America this year. And the other thing that we learned, I think, at IMEX Frankfurt was a real appetite from our exhibitors in particular to really show up in a way that enhanced their presence through some significant brand activations. We always see that both shows, but that's really how the industry, I think, is developing. And so we are working with a number of exhibitors on what they can do at IMEX America. So again, we're always iterating. Sometimes something is brand new at one show and we bring it to the next. Sometimes we're just constantly taking those baby steps and learning.
Well, and I love hearing the emphasis on the first timer, because I'm hearing that like 68% of the industry is new since COVID. Are you seeing increased numbers of people that this is their first time ever at an IMEX?
Yeah, I mean, I can't give you the exact figures, but we've always seen a significant proportion, but we do feel that there are more first timers. There are more people that need to come to a show like IMEX, not just to do their business, but to learn and to network and find their network, find their tribe. So we're finding an increased appetite in these types of networking opportunities actually before the show, as well as when they get on site. So actually helping people to build those networks before they even arrive, and then giving them some dedicated time slots right at the beginning of the show to meet each other and help each other through that experience as well. So we have a dedicated webpage. There are a number of webinars that take place before the show. We actually noticed last time IMEX America, I think it was, a group of them set up their own LinkedIn group. And so some of it is from us, some of it's organic from them. We're really facilitating them an opportunity to, say, meet each other through the chat of a webinar, go on LinkedIn, help each other out, and then right at the beginning of the show, running a few icebreakers, tours of the show so they can get together, get to know each other, and then go on from there.
So each year you have a different talking point, and this year the talking point is impact. You want to tell us, what do you mean by impact, and how will IMEX be part of the impact solution?
Yeah, so for us, impact, it's such a big topic that it's actually going to be our talking point for 2024 and 2025, but we're obviously highlighting different areas of it as we run through that 24-month period. For us, it's always important important to have a talking point because it allows us to focus a part of our content and storytelling and research around it. But also what we found, particularly at IMEX Frankfurt this year, was the impact in particular has given the exhibitors a chance to really shine a light on what they're doing in their destinations or in their venues around different aspects of impact and what that means to them. So for some, it's around sustainability. For others, it's around maybe something like women's leadership. So each exhibitor and destination has a different story to tell. For us, obviously, we're constantly focused on issues like EDI, but also sustainability. But at IMEX America this time, we're also going to focus very much on how impact really through the lens of leadership. So we have a new program facilitated by Holly Ransom. She's the founder of the Emergent Leadership Development. And so we're going to do a program that she'll facilitate around emergent leadership. So really how you can develop as a leader and the impact that you can have as a leader at any stage of your career, because I really believe that leadership is a mindset and a skill that you can learn throughout a career. It's not just for the person sitting in a hierarchical top seat. And so that's very important. And impact for us, we launched a new vision last year, and impact is a new team for it. We actually have an impact team in the business. So for us, it's about how we can help other organizations to see impact, not just about some CSR projects, say, that they do on the side, but how it can actually infiltrate and penetrate every part of an organization. And that's why it was a really important topic for us and why it's a very broad topic.
Yeah, that focus on leadership is so important as we're developing that next generation of people that are going to take us in whole new directions. It's exciting.
Exactly, yeah. And that kind of links back, I guess, to what we were talking about in terms of that new generation that's coming into the industry. Maybe they've had a career change. Maybe they've just sort of come out of school. We want to give them the skills to think of themselves as leaders in their organizations and in their lives as well. That's also really important for us, that looking around leadership in all its many forms and impact in all its many forms and how they interact together.
And sustainability has long been a focus for IMEX. Do you want to talk about that evolution over the years and what we can expect to see at IMEX America 24?
Yeah, so we'll actually be launching quite soon our sustainability report from IMEX America 2023. Takes us a while, longer than we'd like, but it takes us a while to gather all the data and put that into a report. But that gives us a really solid foundation. We actually get the results much sooner, of course, because that gives us a foundation to build on a number of things for each show. As you say, it's been a focus for us for many years. And as a result of that, we've been in a waste neutral show for 5 years. But we're focused now very much on eliminating or reducing carbon towards that net zero future. One of the things that we are launching this year is a partnership with an organization called Cloverly, which gives people the opportunity to offset their travel to and from the show through a portfolio of projects that we've chosen with Cloverly that aren't just about sort of offsetting carbon, but actually around removing carbon from the atmosphere and storing the carbon, as well as things like reforestation and restoration projects. So that portfolio approach allows us to invest in nature in a very positive way. So that's something we're excited to launch this year, because we're very focused on how we get to that next step of carbon, of net zero. And we're also very focused at the moment on building an ESG strategy. And so we'll do some education sessions around that at the show, so that we can help people learn from the journey that we're currently going through to build that strategy, understand where we are with that, how that impacts our events, and what our thinking is for the future. So we're very much hoping to have one of our consultants with us at the show for some of those education sessions.
That's great. Yeah, what I particularly am impressed with each year is how it's integrated into all parts of the show and not just like something that's put on top. It's in your food and beverage, it's in the wellness activities, like it's just a part of everything that's planned.
Yeah, I think that's really important. We've obviously built towards that over time. That doesn't happen overnight, but it's now sort of like sustainability, a focus on EDI, as well as impact. It's really about layering that into every team. It's not one team's responsibility. Of course, we have people who lead, but it's really about how every department, every team thinks about that and builds it into the thinking and planning of what they're doing. And that's how I think you get it, a broad program across every aspect of the show.
I also love that you released that actual report as to the results of your efforts so that that transparency allows other planners to learn from your experiences, right?
Yeah, and that's really important. We want to help. Ultimately, part of our role in the industry is to be a platform and to help people learn. And so we can help people learn as well through our mistakes, through sharing where we are on that journey. And for sharing some of the detail, helping them to know what questions to ask, what is possible, what isn't currently possible, what might be coming down the line from a supplier or product perspective. And things are changing constantly in that regard. Ultimately, we just want to help people take their first steps, if that's where it is, or build upon the programs that they already have.
Marvelous. So the other thing that seems to be an emphasis here is accessibility. What does that look like inside and outside Mandalay Bay, including improved traffic? After last year, we had some of that F1 construction. I'm hearing that shouldn't be an issue this year.
Yeah, we very much hope not. I mean, certainly a lot of the permanent infrastructure for F1 is now in place, whereas last year it was being installed. And there's there was a lot of work taking place last year during the day, whereas some of that work in terms of the setup for F1 will just be taking place at night. So hopefully a lot of those issues will have been eliminated. There was also actually just general road improvements last year, nothing to do with F1, which was also layered on top. So we hope that will be better. Accessibility, though, for us has been very important for a number of years. And like sustainability, we've been able to kind of see that through the organization. So we're thinking about it throughout the planning for the show. So whether it is around how you access learning sessions through AI's transcripts or audio, whether it is making sure that the aisles or the information counters or F&B counters are accessible for, say, wheelchair users, building out the resilience room. We had that last year. It's again coming back this year, sponsored by Google, which is a place for people who maybe might have sensory overload at an event like IMEX to be able to go and have some quiet space, or whether it is about how we communicate before the show to make sure people know the layout of the show, how they can maybe access these different spaces, where to expect different scents, if that's something difficult for people, or publishing our menus online so people who maybe have allergies know which food courts to go to. So just thinking about all of those little details. It's not difficult to do. It just takes a little bit of thought for people with different needs rather than assuming everybody has the same need. And that's something, again, that the team have been really focused on over the past 18 months, I would say. And again, we started this last year and we're building upon it. So I think that's something that we always aim to do, just start somewhere, add to it each show and build upon it so that eventually you have a large program, a very comprehensive program of accessibility in all its many forms, and inclusivity. It makes the show very inclusive, but we build that with baby steps each show. And I think that just helps it not seem overwhelming.
Yeah, iterating and changing. And it's just amazing how much communication is at the core of all of that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. As always, with so many of these things, everything we've spoken about, really, so much of it comes down to communication. Especially with inclusivity, I think, which I think is a bit of a watchword at the moment. I can see in the States in particular, corporations really focusing on how do we include everybody And there are so many different needs, aren't there, out there? So communication is really key. But we forget sometimes, don't we? As a planner, you put a lot of effort maybe into your F&B menus, but you don't tell anybody about them, or you don't think about the fact that, say, if I've got allergies, that would be a very important aspect, maybe a deciding factor as to whether I can even come to an event or not. So it's important to communicate that in advance to truly be inclusive.
For sure. So this is one thing. So let me ask you, what is the one thing you are most excited about at IMEX America 2024, other than the Smart Women Toasted our booth on that Wednesday, of course?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, you always make that difficult, because obviously the thing I always look forward to is your reception. But no, and the thing I always really look forward to is just seeing the whole world there. I think one of the things I am really looking forward to is that education program, again, that I spoke about at the beginning, that emergent leadership focus. And the other thing that we're doing that's brand new, and again, to try to bring in one of these new groups that we really see focusing into the industry, is we're launching a new CMO summit. So really trying to attract in that group of corporate executives who are marketers first and foremost, but are so influential in creating events and the decision makers around what events their corporations are putting on in order to really enhance and improve their brand and their marketing. So we really hope that will be a success this year. And I'm very much looking forward to our sort of first iteration of that program.
Well, we're looking forward to it too. Thank you so much for joining us and for all you do to support meeting professionals.
Thank you.
Bye. Smart Meetings, What One Thing was produced by Bright Business Media. Visit smartmeetings.com to subscribe to your daily dose of inspiration.